This is a topic I talk a lot about, and it's about the business is up and running, and it's along the lines of strategic connections and relationship building. A lot of people I work with said I am not a salesperson. And I always say, as a business owner, technically you are. You're always selling the business, and there's different layers here and different levels, is the way I explain it. We're not cold calling necessarily, but it's relationship building. And the place that I recommend to everyone, and this is something I did myself, was joining the Chamber of Commerce. That being the place where, yeah, you're in the same neighborhood, you're speaking with other small business owners in your market, depending on what your business is, and just building that network. I jokingly call it the mayor of the town, right? Getting to know everyone. People like to do business with locals, right? If you're in the same area and then you have a restoration business, you may network with a local plumbing business, a local insurance business, or even a local contractor. It's the importance of relationship building is big. It's how we all met, either through podcasts and through introductions over the years. So we'll go with Henry if you want to take over. But the importance of relationship building, what do you recommend to individuals as far as where to start? The place that kind of fills in the business as far as having all those relationships.
Right. And then coming from the perspective of a location specific business, not an online business, right? So the typical business, either in the services or retail, whether you have brick and mortar or not, where you're depending on those people that live in that geographic area to consume your product or service. First and foremost, I would say, and I'm advising this, like, for example, I'm working with my daughter now and building her business. And I suffer from this as well, but younger people in particular, I'm generalizing. The key thing I always tell them, and this is in my adage, but the business is out there, not in here. In other words, we got to get out there, to your point, Giuseppe, into the community and connect with people. Now, what's most effective? Certainly, Chamber of Commerces are still effective, but I see them as dying because their original purpose is all of that I can get myself online now. So often, it depends on the Chamber of Commerce, and I've been a member of lots of them. Sometimes it's the 5 realtors and the 6 life insurance agents, and so you don't get much out of it, but it's good.
Good point.
The question you have to ask yourself is, who is my target audience? Who is it that I'm trying to reach that buys my product and service? Where do they gather? How can I get in front of them in those physical places or spaces or gathering places? And then beyond that, who are the influencers on my ideal client? I'll give you an example. I have a client that I'm working with. She built a life wellness studio, physical location. People come in and get certain treatments like red light therapy and cold plunge. She's got the direct consumer, right, that comes in, and she knows who that demographic is. But also a big source for her is referrers, massage therapists, chiropractors, other practitioners that would refer clients to her. So she needs to get out there and work that network of people. And so that's part of getting out in the community is I may have to go visit them individually at their places of business, or I get in front of where they gather. And so those are my philosophies on what's most effective from a networking perspective.
Yeah, I think those are great points, and I'll build upon what Henry said. I think that you need to be very intentional of networking and having connections, and not just making the connections, but nurturing them and keeping in touch with people. And, whether you are talking about a local business and local, people in the area that you want to be connected to, I think what Henry mentioned there about people who have an influence over your potential customers is really important. Centers of influence is what I call them. And, I actually keep a list in my workflow management software of people that I think it's important for me to have a relationship with. And one of the things I look for when I reach out and meet someone to add them to my network is I kind of ask myself, like, do I think that this is the kind of person who could be a friend of mine? Because I'll tell you, it's a heck of a lot easier to keep in touch with one of your friends than it is with somebody that you don't think is your friend, but you're trying to FaceTime and conversations or send emails with because you feel some obligation to have some kind of connection to the person. And, it was funny at Christmas time, I had a lot of phone calls with people who just wanted to touch base and catch up and, say, hey, how's the family and things like that. And if you can intentionally find people that, are going to help with business and you can help them with business and they can become friends of yours, that's, I think that's worthwhile. And that's something that you really need to focus on, and it will pay dividends. Here's the key, whether in the long time your business is successful or not. Because if you ever run into trouble in your business and you ever have a bad time, that's when you need friends. And you need to be able to reach out and talk to people and ask for help, ask for advice, ask for ideas, and or even if things don't work out and you're looking at the next thing, friends again are going to be what helps you. So I think networking and communications and keeping track, just so that you don't forget somebody and you have meaningful outreach and conversations with people on a regular basis.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I hope you're enjoying the show. As a thank you for being a valued listener, wanted to offer you a free copy of my book, Franchise Freedom. This book was written back in 2020, and it's my exact blueprint in helping you find that perfect franchise. I wrote it based off my experiences and wanted to pass that along to you. Want to chat today? You can book a call directly on our website, top right side of that screen, and you can schedule a 20-minute call. We'll dive into if a franchise is a good fit, help you get qualified, and figure out what that perfect franchise match may be. So I hope you take me up on my offer. Once again, Franchise Freedom. Download the book today for free or book a call with me directly, and we'll help you bypass all that information you find online. Most importantly, figuring out if a franchise is the right fit and then figuring out what that perfect franchise looks like. So thanks again for listening to the show, and back to the show.
But I think you also need a good team around you. Some people have a business coach. Some people might be part of a mastermind. Got your accountant. You've got an attorney. The funny thing, though, about a lot of these is most of them may not understand your business, and most of them may not understand how money flows in the business. I always make the joke with attorneys, they went to law school because there's no math class. So don't ask for math advice, But what I find is client will hand the attorney and say, create this contract for me. And we'll have worked on the financials ahead of time for how the contract's to be written. I'm like, send me the contract when it's done. I get the contract back. It doesn't say anything in alignment with what they told me. Or if they're going to buy something or get involved in something, the same thing. Oh, this is a great deal. This is what the opportunity is. I go, send me the contract. I go, the contract doesn't say that. It says something totally different. And you'd be shocked at how far apart these things are. Your CPA, everyone goes, oh, my CPA is going to help me with my finance. You know what CPAs get yelled at for? A big tax surprise. Do you know the biggest way to get rid of a big tax surprise?
Spend the money.
Hey, why don't you go spend money and buy a truck in December so we can get you a tax deduction because I forgot to make sure you paid enough in taxes. And so granted, you get the deduction and then you're sitting there in March and you have no cash. And so understand the motivations. Most business coaches don't look at P&Ls. They don't understand them, or business owners don't share them. And so they're like, let's grow the business. And we're like, that's great. You just grew a business where you lose money on every single sale, and now you supercharged it. Way to go. Like, that is not going to work. So the other thing is all these people got to talk together, and somebody's got to play quarterback to make sure they're all on the same page, because each of them has their own tool. Yep. And everything they do, they use that tool for. The question is that the tool for your business?
I love that. My financial advisor referred me to my attorney, who referred me to my CPA. A lot of these decisions, you have to look at all angles. The CPA is looking at the accounting angle, but what about if that exposes me on the legal side? There are 3 women that work in the same town as myself. They all go out once a month, and they all kind of sit down and they do brainstorming session of all their clients, how they can help them differently, but looking at all different angles. That is huge, and that is not easy to do. So I started with my financial advisor, and I said, who do you work closely with? Who do you actually hang out with? To David's point, who are you friends with? Who would you mind having a drink with? And that's how I built the team. But it took me a lot of tries, because the accountant always said they talk with the attorney, yet they would never pick up the phone or send some vague email. So there's a lot of moving parts, and you need to look at it holistically. You got to look at all different angles and make sure those professionals have the entire picture and that they're all talking together. So that is equally as important as finding that right person is the team. Great point.
Your network is built, your advisory team is talking to each other, and your cash flow is locked down. But there's one force that could disrupt everything or supercharge your business beyond anything you've imagined. In the final segment, the panel goes all in on AI, technology costs, and what future-proofing your business actually looks like in 2025.